Good morning students. In last grammar lecture, we learnt about basic details of tenses. You remember this chart students? The 12 tenses chart? So today, let's start by looking at the present simple tense. Present simple tense is the most basic and the very first tense which we learn when we learn tenses. It is used to express what is actually taking place at the present moment. Now students, tenses can be a little hard to understand, but I'll try my best to keep it simple and interesting. But you all will also have to really pay attention here. So first, let's start with where do we use this particular tense. Present simple tense is used firstly for facts. Fact means something which is true for all times, proven correct, like universally accepted. So, when we say that the earth is round, it's a fact. No one will question it. It was true yesterday, it is true today, and it will remain true tomorrow as well. Same way, the sun is bright is also a fact. Next, we use present tense, present simple tense for routines or habits. So, for instance, you could say, I play cricket every Sunday, which is a habit or routine, something which you do every Sunday. Similarly, when we say, he eats banana every morning, this is also a routine, something he does every morning. So, here we use the present simple tense only. Now, the third thing, it is also used for permanent situations. Permanent situations means, so when I say, I live in Ahmedabad, it's a permanent situation. I'm not here for 2-3 days of a vacation of that way. It's my residential address, like I stay in Ahmedabad, I live in Ahmedabad. So, it was true yesterday, it is true today and not likely to change any time. So, you must be thinking that what's the difference between permanent and facts then? Both are true and both are not going to change. Permanent situations are for personal things and facts are for the worldly level, like facts are accepted by everybody, whereas when I talk about permanent situations, I talk about personal things. I am talking about I am living in Ahmedabad. Okay, so that's the basic difference. I hope you understood. Where do we use this tense? Now, let's look at the form or sentence structure for present simple tense, which is subject plus first form of verb plus object. Now, subject means I, you, we and they. You can see in the box, right? And verb means action. We all know that. Here, we are going to use the first form of verb. So, actions like play, go, eat, etc. I have also mentioned some of the examples here, so you can easily understand. See the verb highlighted in red color. They are all first form of verb, play, go and eat, right? So, this is how you form the sentence. Now, let's look at the previous example of routine or habit once again. Check out the words in yellow color in both examples. You can see that they both are verbs, right? Play and eats. But can you notice the difference, students, here? In second example, we have used verb eat with the word s, which makes it eats. Can you guess why is it so? Why we have not used eat instead of eats? It's because in present tense, like we discussed before, when the subject is I, you, we or they, then we use a verb without s or es. So you get play, go and eat. But when the subject is he, she or it, look into this table and to your right side, you can see the subject is he, she and it. Here we have added s or es to the verb. So you are getting plays, goes and eats. Can you see the changes in the red color? Great. Now let's look at some examples. Here, first example, the subject is we. So we have not added s to the verb and thus we get play, the verb play, right? Now look down in the second box. You will notice that here the subject is he. So here we have added s to the verb play. So it becomes he plays, just like we discussed before. Same way, look at the examples of go and eat, right? I hope you can see the difference. So you just learn, students, how to make positive or affirmative sentences in present simple tense. Subject plus first form of verb plus object. If the subject is I, you, we or they, you do not add s to verb. But if the subject is he, she or it, you add either s or es to the verb. Hope this is clear now. Now let's go a little deeper here. Here in this picture you can see that I have circled two examples. In the first example you can see that we have added es to verb go and just s to verb eat. Why? Why we have done that? Why with some verb we add s and with some verb we add es? What's the difference? So let's learn some spelling rules. To most verbs we simply add s to the verb. So we get eats, sings, jumps, runs, etc. And to some verbs we add es. So we get dresses, watches, washes, fixes, goes, does, etc. I'm sure you have again one question, why, in your mind, right? So there's a very simple rule here. The rule says that when the words are ending with s, ch, sh or x, then we have to add es to that. So you can see that the word dress ends with s, so we have added es. Similarly, watch ends with ch, wash ends with sh and fix ends with x. So we have added es to each word and thus we get dresses, watches, washes and fixes. Now there's also one more thing. If verb is ending with o, letter o, and before o if there is a consonant g or d, like you see in the example go and do, you can say see that both go and do are ending with the letter O, and both G and D are consonant. So, for that also we will add ES. You need to remember this, students, that words ending with O having consonant G or D before O, like the words go and do, we add ES to that and we get goes and does respectively. I hope this is clear. It's very simple. Now let's look at the other two things which you need to remember. Verbs ending with Y. Now here also there are some verbs to which we simply add S. So we get plays, sprays and stays, and there are many other verbs like that. We have added simply S, and in some verbs we have added IES. So we get fries, replies and copies. Now we are talking only about the verbs ending with Y. Do not forget that. And verbs which are ending with Y, there are two rules. One, to add S, and to add IES. Now again, why? Right? So the rule again says that the vowels, I am sure we all know what vowels means, A, E, I, O, U. So if there is a vowel before Y, we add S to it. So for example, you can see in the words play, spray and stay, we have the letter A before Y. So we have just simply added S to it. So play becomes plays, spray becomes sprays. And in the other rule says that if you have consonants, now consonants, what are consonants? Any letter which is not vowel, right? So we have 21 consonant and 5 vowel, which makes 26, right? 26 letters we have. So any letter which is consonant before Y, then we remove Y and we add IES to it. So your fry, now here in the word fry, you can see that fry is ending with letter Y, and before Y we have a consonant R. So what we will do is we will remove Y and we will add IES instead of Y. So fry will become fries. Isn't it simple, students? I am sure you will not face any problem in this if you remember all these simple rules. Okay? Now let's move on to making negative sentences in the present simple tense. First of all, let's understand when do we use negative sentence in present simple tense. We use it when we want to deny situations that regularly or repeatedly occur. So let's look at its form first. How do we form the negative sentence? So here we say subject plus do or does plus not plus first form of verb plus object. No need to worry, I will explain you with an example and it will be easy for you to understand. Like we learned before, here if the subject is I, you, we or they, then we will use do plus not. Do is a helping verb. Okay? In simple present tense, we all know that there are two kinds of verbs. One is the main verb and one is the helping verb. And here when we talked about the positive sentences, we said that I play. So, there was a hidden verb over there, helping verb, that was do. Okay. So, here we are using the same do and we add not to it. Not is for the negation, negative. So, we will add not here, and when you combine do plus not, it will become don't, right. So, I don't play or I do not play. Okay. So, subject is I. If the subject is I, you will use do plus not. So, do not or don't and first form of verb, that is play. Okay. Now, look at your right side. Same as before, like in positive, he, she or it. In that, we used to add, in the positive sentences, we used to add the letter S to the verb, right? You remember that? So, here you must be thinking that where did that S go? So, we will add that word, that letter S to does, do, sorry. So, that will give you does. So, here you can say he, which is your subject, does not means doesn't play. Play is your first form of verb. Can you make out the difference between both? I have highlighted it in red color, so it is easy for you to understand. It is very simple if you pay little attention. Okay. So, this is how our sentences will look. Let us take the next example, go, if the verb is go, and here if we say that if the subject is we, then we will use do plus not, means we do not go, and if the subject is he, we will use does not go. So, she does not go. So, let us now move to forming interrogative sentences. Now, interrogative means questions. How do we form questions in present simple tense? To make a question, we normally use do or does, and it is put at the beginning of the question. So, that is why we have to use do or does in the beginning in this form, then subject, then first form of verb and then object. Let us look at its form. You can see do or does in the beginning plus subject plus first form of verb plus object. Now, again here, if the subject is I, you, we or they, we will use do. So, do you play? And right side you can say if the subject is he, she or it, we will use does. Does he play? And do not forget to put the question mark at the end of the question. At the end of the question, yeah. Let us look at some more examples to make it more clear. You can see 3 columns. First is positive, second is negative and third is interrogative. I have also mentioned the formulas, how to use it, how to make the sentences, and you can see 3 examples, same examples. Let us look at the first example. He needs dictionary. Now, why did we use S here in need? Because the subject is he. Okay. So, he needs dictionary. If you want to make the same sentence negative, as the subject is he, we will use does. So, he does not need dictionary, he does not need dictionary. And same way interrogative, as the subject is he, we will use does. So, and we will use does in the beginning of the sentence. So, does he need dictionary and the question mark at the end. Let us look at the next example. I prefer my tea sugarless. So, here subject is I. So, we say prefer and not prefers. Okay. First form of verb, I prefer my tea sugarless. Same way in the negative sentence, we will not use does here, we will use do because the subject is I. So, I do not or I don't prefer my tea sugarless. An interrogative sentence, you will use do as. So, do you prefer your tea sugarless? Here we will convert it that way. Okay. I hope this is clear now, students. Present simple tense and how to form affirmative, negative and interrogative sentences in present simple tense. Now, be ready to do some interesting exercises. Okay? Have a good day.